trying to fall here. So I think I'm going to be the first to go away from my script just a minute. You've certainly heard some tremendously intelligent and accomplished people tonight. And unfortunately now you're stuck with me, a washed up former athlete. So I'll give it my best. The human body is capable of some truly remarkable things, especially when it is working the way it's supposed to. However, it is so insanely complex, you've heard a little bit about that today, that our best and brightest doctors don't really understand it. I know that fact all too well. You see, I haven't always sounded like this or struggled for a breath deep enough to get one sentence out, or needed a wheelchair, or my wife to dress me in the morning. 5 short years ago, I was in peak physical condition. I was finishing the final year of an 11-year professional hockey career. The 4 years prior to that were spent here at U of M, where I studied computer science. And no, Sophia, I was never in the zone. Probably why I didn't end up at Google. I even assisted on the game-winning overtime goal that brought us our last national championship in 1998. Even after leaving professional hockey behind, I was still very physically active, capable of running a 6-minute mile, hitting a golf ball well over 300 yards, and whipping all of my buddies at racquetball. So I was an athlete, but I was certainly more than that. I am a father and a husband. In the spring of 2014, my daughter Reese was 4 and my son Owen was 2. I was about to celebrate 7 years of marriage to my beautiful wife Katie. It was nothing more that I enjoyed than jumping on the trampoline with my kids, or chasing them around the backyard, or running the neighborhood with my wife, typically leaving her behind after 100 yards, let's say. But all of a sudden, something started to change in my body. A cramp in my forearm as I reached into the center console of my car for a pack of gum. Stiffness in my finger as I hung drywall in my garage. Not being able to release a clenched fist easily. Not sure why I had a clenched fist, but I'm a hockey player, so you gotta excuse me. As those things became more significant, more frequent, and more severe, we decided to go see a general doctor. After several months, when multiple blood tests, MRIs, and examinations led nowhere, he recommended that we see a neurologist. So on August 20th, 2014, we went to Bronson Hospital in Kalamazoo. My neurologist wasn't initially worried, but after a thorough examination, several diagnostic tests, he brought us back into his office. He shut the door. He asked us to sit down. I knew something was wrong. I don't remember much about what he said over the next several minutes, but I do remember him using 3 letters that changed my life forever. ALS. Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease. I had prayed that he wouldn't use those letters. I had Googled my symptoms more times than I can count over the previous few months, and I knew what those letters meant. ALS is 100% fatal progressive neurological disorder that causes the death of neurons that control our voluntary movements. That includes speech and breathing. The average life expectancy of ALS patients is 3 to 5 years from symptom onset. In about 90% of the cases, mine included, there is no known cause. There is no treatment, and ALS has no cure. Wow. What do you do with that kind of news? I'm struck by the words that I read recently in an article on the Players Tribune by Jeff Capel, who is the assistant basketball coach at Duke University. He's mentioning these words after hearing the diagnosis of his father with ALS. He says, Google and WebMD are great resources for giving you information about disease. But what those things don't tell you is how to live your life after getting a diagnosis like that, or the fact that life goes on even that very day. There is no playbook to living with ALS, so we set out to create our own. That very night, we got together with our closest friends. We cried, we laughed, we drank a lot of red wine, and we talked about our bucket list. Over the next couple of years, we traveled a lot. We said yes to absolutely everything we could, and we created some amazing memories. But the symptoms of my ALS got worse. More loss, more death of neurons led to muscle loss and atrophy, which led to more weakness and continued loss of strength in my body. My speech and breathing was beginning to be affected. Excuse me. My day-to-day life was significantly impacted. I was facing new challenges. Before the disease, I might have been challenged, this is right, to run a 5-minute mile or shoot a round of golf in the low 70s. And for you golfers out there, that's a 73 at Kingsley Country Club up north, so that's legit. It became a challenge to walk to the mailbox or dress myself. Now it's a challenge to hold a plastic spoon without my arm shaking so much the food falls off, or opening my car door, or getting up out of a chair. It began to feel like I was losing something every week. Something mundane like buttoning a shirt. Something extraordinary like running or skating. ALS is slowly paralyzing my body and taking away my ability to speak and breathe on my own. More than that, though, ALS is stealing my future. I will not walk my daughter Reese down the aisle someday. I will not meet the life of my son Owen's life. I will not hold a grandchild someday. ALS is going to kill me. I am 38 years old. Sobering thought, I know. But haven't many of us considered that fact? How we would live our lives if we knew we were dying? How many countless songs have been written about that idea? I felt like I had a choice, an opportunity. What would I do with the time I had left? As I said, I had a choice, but it's not that much different from the choices that we all have at certain parts of our life. After losing a loved one or a job, after not getting into the college of your choice, as an athlete after suffering a season-ending or career-ending injury, after being diagnosed with a fatal disease. I had a choice to be a victim, to blame a higher power, to feel sorry for myself, to stop living. But honestly, it didn't feel like I had much of a choice at all. That's not how I had lived my life before, so why would I start now? I chose to live life to the fullest, to laugh, to love, and to soak up every moment that I had left. More importantly, I've chosen to become a difference maker. We formed MyTurn, an organization dedicated to helping spread awareness about ALS. It has become my guiding light, my reason for getting out of bed in the morning, and my legacy. It's my opportunity to do something bigger than myself, to do something long-lasting that I can be proud of, and hopefully my children can be proud of me for someday. It's my opportunity to carry the torch and take my turn while empowering the people around me, including all of you, to take your turn. I've learned some incredible lessons along the way, and I'd like to share a couple of those with you. You know, as I look around the world today, I see a politically divided America, civil unrest in the Middle East and elsewhere, and in this era of 24-hour news outlets, a seemingly endless stream of shootings, terrorism, and anything else they can scare us with. You know, it'd be easy to look at the world as a dark and unforgiving place, but what we have seen has been almost the exact opposite. We have seen an unwavering show of support and compassion from our friends and family, of course, from my ex-teammates, teams I played for, of course, but also from people I've never met in places I've never visited. You can't imagine how important that support and compassion and the countless messages of encouragement have been. They have hoisted me up, allowed me and my family to face this dreadful disease head on. It has pushed me to become a better person, a better father, a better son, a better husband, and a better friend. I have learned that the people around me, and I believe people in general, have a deep yearning to help and show compassion when given the opportunity. So let's not be afraid to let people in and give them that opportunity. The second lesson I want to share is about perspective. I would assume it would be easy for all of you to recognize that my perspective on life has changed dramatically. One where I'm not sweating the small stuff, and I'm certainly not crying over spilled milk. And I feel like I've mainly done that, although with a 5 and a 7-year-old at home who seem to be hard of hearing, it can be hard sometimes. But what I didn't necessarily expect was the impact it would have on others' lives. I've been reluctant to tell people about my disease, mainly in fear of not wanting to ruin their day or the moment or experience that we were having. Instead, what I've seen is it strengthened the friendships and bonds that I had, helped create new ones. And more than that, I've seen it have an impact on how others looked at their own life. And for that, I'm so proud. I have not looked at my diagnosis as the end, but rather as the beginning of a new opportunity, the beginning of a movement, MyTurn. We may only be a tiny pebble in a pond, but I can see the ripple. Enough ripples, and maybe we have a wave. Enough wave, and maybe we can create a tsunami. Like I said earlier, I had a choice to lie down or stand up. And I've chosen to stand up. And I'm going to fight for as long as I possibly can. But the most important part of my journey is not about me. It's about you. And now it's your turn to stand up. It's your turn to let people in. It's your turn to show compassion. It's your turn to look at your life differently. And it's your turn to become a difference maker. This disease is going to silence me, but it's not going to silence all of us. And together, we can't be stopped. Thank you, and go blue.